Welcome, everyone. It's Monday, the aftermath of this weekend. A veritable bloodbath at the box office. Joker, Folie, Deux premiered in theaters, and critics and fans agree it's terrible. They're actually in alignment. They agree. But here we have differences of opinion. They're celebrating. And we are going to talk about Joker 2, about the franchise, the new episode of The Penguin, and your comments, questions, and concerns. So let's bring everyone on. And I'll just say this. I'm so happy you're here today. Let's go. Welcome, folks. It's Monday, and let's have everyone here give themselves a quick introduction before we get into our main topic.
Hi, Script Doctor. Happy to be back here to diagnose all of Hollywood's illnesses.
Angry Badger, and thanks to Chris and Alan, I watched Joker 2, where we learned that all Batman had to do to stop the Joker was take him to one of P. Diddy's parties.
Hello. I'm Literature Devil on YouTube, and I debunk the evil agenda every day on YouTube.
What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. Looking forward to this one, man. The Joker 2 was absolute garbage. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's get into it.
Having some camera issues, but Verbal Riot, glad to be here. And yeah, I'm ready to talk about the Penguin. Not so much the Joker, but definitely the Penguin.
Well, I will say this, Verbal. That tank top, people are in.
I'm Alan Ng, editor-in-chief at Film Threat, and who doesn't love a good musical? I mean, really. We all love them.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, we'll say hi to a few people here in the chat before we get started. Let's see. There's a lot of people here. Barack Samsonite, Joker full of poo-poo. Batman 92, Joker full of dope. MK Solid, hey, shout out to MK Solid with the memes and AI art. Love it. Chris was all giddy at the con with his Crocs. That's right. If you look on the channel, there is a video of me wearing Batman Crocs at LA Comic-Con. That happened.
Based.
So,
Among other things.
Mr. A lot of videos only for members. Mr. Tech Rat, I'm here for Badgers with Attitude Hour. There we go. And Leslie Tarkin, hail to all you lovely people. Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch. Go to shop.filmthread.com. That's right. We have the election collection is our merch in the shop right now. We have Halloween themed shirts. Got one of the shirts I'm wearing now, part of our election collection. That's right. Film Threat 24. Vote on the Gore ticket. Promises kept, like wearing Batman Crocs to LA Comic-Con, and our Drinker's Choice collection, mugs, t-shirts. Get them while they're hot. Go to shop.filmthreat.com and support us. Also, really old movies became a member. Go to our members only videos. I'm posting a lot of stuff this week, a lot of things. Oh my gosh, just a lot of great videos, Q&As with filmmakers. I shot a Q&A with Pharrell actually at a screening of his movie Piece by Piece. We'll talk about it later this week. So, right, let's get into it, folks. I feel like there's mostly agreement, but some division about Joker. Chime in with your thoughts, open debate here. And we've got a lot of topics. So we got a lot of topics to get to. So if I stop you and move you on, no, F that. This is not mainstream media. Talk as long as you want. You may be interrupted, but please, open debate, Joker? Who is jumping in?
Okay, I'll start off because I saw it again last night, and I think I found, for you musical fans, I found the perfect way to see it. Come in an hour late, all right? Basically when the sex scene happens, and then stay till the guilty verdict. And what you'll have is about an hour and 10 minutes of kind of a cabaret-style show of some of the classics, such as Rodgers and Hart, George Gershwin, even the Bee Gees. And you'll get that for about an hour and 5 minutes, and then you can leave.
How much do they pay you,
that
Alan?
was the best way to enjoy the Joker.
Chill.
See ya.
Is there any
next
debate?
scene? I mean, you're not gonna be there very long.
Is there a debate as to what is there anything good in this? That's what I want to know. Is there
You
any
should ask Mr. Devlin.
There are things that are very good in this. I'll
Yeah.
look. I hated the movie, but I will say this: the cinematography was amazing. The editing was top notch. I think.
So just turn down the volume, and you'll probably enjoy this.
Well,
movie.
yeah. I mean, the acting,
watch it.
performance. Look here. You know what I equate the Joker to? I equate it to a chef having all the best ingredients and then burning the meal on purpose.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
what the Joker 2 is. They had all the makings of what should have been a great film. And it's like Todd Phillips went out of his way to shit on everybody who loved the
No,
first
you just
movie.
didn't understand the meal you were eating and that he was giving to you.
Of course.
You
yes.
just don't you understand? It was all about
the shit
Arthur.
flavor was too nuanced for me.
Everyone who says I don't care about Arthur, I only want the Joker. You're like, that's right. Don't you get it? We're all Harley. All we care about is Joker. No one cares about Arthur Fleck. That's right. I don't care about Arthur Fleck. He wrote him that way. He wrote a character we don't care about on purpose. And now we're the assholes because we wanted Joker in a film called Joker.
Here's the question I have.
Joker, though.
What?
One at a time.
Look, everybody's asking this question. Everybody's asked me this question. Was this on purpose or was this intentional? Was this intentionally bad or was it unintentionally bad? Like, I guess, did Todd Phillips just throw a screwball at Warner Brothers because he really didn't want to make this movie at all? But since they said, look, we're going to give you a lot of money, he just said, screw it, I'll just go out there and make the dumbest movie ever. Did he do it because of the toxic fans or the quote-unquote toxic fans that loved the first movie? The wrong fans liked it. They didn't get the right lessons from the movie. So I'm going to go out there and destroy the sequel or whatever. I mean, everybody's been asking me this, and I honestly don't know. I don't have any real answer. So I guess we're in speculation territory because Todd Phillips isn't on this panel. Why did this movie happen the way it happened? I think that's the big question on everybody's mind.
Beyond the obvious.
They had an absolute hit. They had an absolute hit on their hands with the first one, and this thing just fell apart. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't believe that a director would purposely make a bad movie just because. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because making a movie is hard. It's hard. Sure. It's a lot of work. It's grueling. They're not going to do it as a joke. So what's worse is he actually did do it as an FU to the people who like
the movie was not intentionally done bad. I think it was intentionally done divisive. That seemed to be objectively what happened, going by what actually objectively happened in the movie. And they knew it because they mention it in the movie. They even have that little segment in one of the fantasy scenes where like, hey, let's give them what we want. Let's give the fans what they want. And that's when Harley shoots Joker in the stomach. So they point this stuff out. They have every single thing that you want to see in this Joker movie was there, but in Fantasyland. So whether you, I don't know. I love the movie. I personally love the movie a lot. But I do know why people don't like it, and I understand why people don't like it because I felt the same exact disappointment everyone else did. When he was sitting there, he dragged the chair out to the courtroom. He's sitting down with the microphone. He's about to go off. You can tell he's about to go off, and then he says, "I can't do it. I'm not the Joker." And I felt the same disappointment everyone else felt. Like, why isn't he the Joker? What happened to him? So what I did was I went back and I felt the disappointment. Like, this sucks. This is not what I wanted to see. And they were right, but they knew it. The writers definitely knew it, and they did this on purpose. It was intentionally divisive. But whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think that's a part up to the debate. If you look, because what I did was I went back and I looked at the first movie, the second movie, and I said, okay, first of all, let's see what they did. Did they destroy Arthur Fleck's character? Was it different now? Did they do this to spite us as an intentional and malicious attack on the fans? Because how dare we like this character? How dare we like this movie? Usually it would be a yes from, in today's modern world. It would be yes. And the way I look at it, is I don't think it was malicious if that happened. I don't think it was in this case in the Joker. I don't think it was malicious. I think it maintained his character consistency from Joker 1 to Joker 2. If it was malicious, there would have been a strong disconnect, similar to the other example we have, which is Luke Skywalker versus Jake Skywalker, as he's come to be known. There's a strong disconnect from the Luke Skywalker, the hero, from the Return of the Jedi, to Luke Skywalker, the beach bum we see in Last Jedi. We don't know what happened to him, and the consensus I know from that discourse was that people would have been fine with this beach bum Luke Skywalker had the transition from the hero to beach bum been fine. So the hatred, the malice, the idea that it was just an excuse to hate on Luke Skywalker came from the fact that the disconnect was unsatisfactory. It was a stupid disconnect where he goes from hero to beach bum, and it didn't work. It was clearly malicious. Where here in the Joker land, I went back and Arthur Fleck, this made sense for him to go with. It did not disconnect the same way Luke Skywalker did when he transitioned to Jake Skywalker.
Sure it did, because at the end of the first movie, he's the Joker. He fully embraced the identity, and they spend this entire movie undoing that. It would be like if the end of Return to the Jedi, exactly what happened. He was like, no, I can't do it. I'm not a Jedi. Yes, you are.
Well, he did.
But I think that was the intentional part, to build him up in the first movie, the Joker, and then to deconstruct that in this one.
He wasn't necessarily built up. Remember, in the first movie, Society and Maury Franklin create the Joker and kind of impose it on Arthur against his will, and he just kind of rolls with it. And what I liked about both of these movies when you put them together is that you actually have an overarching plot about plot with regards to society. You have society saying, you know what, it's too expensive to pay for the medication for these mentally ill people. Let's cut them off. Let's have them lash out as a result of that mental illness. Let's put them in prison, and then let's try them for the crimes that they commit with the death penalty as the result. Therefore, we basically are euthanizing them through a quote unquote legal process, and therefore they're no longer a strain on our tax dollars. Like, that is what the overarching plot between these two films are. And Arthur Fleck is the example victim of that story. And that's what I found kind of fascinating with the second one, even though it didn't go in the direction a lot of people were hoping for. It felt authentic to Arthur Fleck because he doesn't have the faculty to be a terrorist or a Joker-like character. The first three murders he does is in self-defense. They're kicking and beating him up on a subway, and then he shoots them and hunts them down. The second murder is as a result with that bullying a clown that wants to know, hey, I just want to know what you told the police about how you got the gun. And then he just takes him out. And then the last one, he planned to kill himself on the show. But when Maury was actually starting to insult him further, he then lashes out and kills him. Like, that's what it is. He is a victim who is a victim of the 15-minute celebrity syndrome that we have in society. And he is ended just as abruptly as those 15-minute celebrities are. They just vanish.
I think the one murder that they didn't really bring up, and you didn't bring it up there, was his mother's murder. Right. And I thought that's when he became the Joker. Is that when he embodied like everything that had ever happened to him from those murders, along with his abusive childhood. That's when he finally just snapped and just turned into the man that society, like you said, society, Murray Franklin and everything else had kind of been aiming him towards. So I enjoyed that from that standpoint. I thought that was a really good turn. Like, okay, so it seems like they just washed all of that away because, all of the abuse that the Joker or Arthur Fleck had dealt with up until that point in time kind of seemed to be pointing him to the fact that he was going to become this character and that he was going to fully embrace it. And now it's like, well, I don't really embrace it. And I just was along for the ride, even though I murdered my mother, I murdered a friend, I murdered, 3 innocent people. And then I shot a talk show host on live camera. It's like, it seems like that should have had not a positive impact, a negative impact that led him even further down into darkness. But it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to go in a different direction. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, I don't think I buy this. I don't really buy this.
But that's if you leave out the first half of the movie. The first half of the movie is about fanaticism. It's about a guy who is embracing imposter syndrome, embracing a role that he doesn't deserve. He gets the girl, he gets these followers, he gets the fame, and then he gets graped in prison, and then that all changes.
Well, stop using our toys to tell these shitty stories, please.
My most controversial Joker 2 take is that he doesn't get raped.
Yeah, he just goes in with his pants on. He leaves with his pants off.
Yeah,
Bro.
so that scene in full context, that scene is after he goes to the courtroom, and then he on national TV he calls the guards big fat stupid idiots or something like that. And so he gets back, they're obviously angry, and then of course like Lisa, or I think his name is Brendan Gleeson, does an excellent job being this awesome like security guard, very threatening. The idea in that scene was to you could argue it's like a metaphorical, because what they're trying to do there is disarm him. They made it very clear that you think you're wearing that face paint makes you better than us. It's all an act, Arthur. Behind that is Arthur Fleck. There is no Joker. So they wipe off his paint, they strip him of his clothes, and they take off his confidence. Kind of what the metaphor of the Joker is for Arthur Fleck is. That's his confidence. That's his confidence striking through the docile Arthur Fleck. And so they strip him down and they wipe.
They don't strip him down. He's fully dressed. They take him in. They say, strip those rags off him. When he come out, he's wearing all of his clothes except for his pants.
But and also that's to re-traumatize his childhood.
They kind of reset Arthur Fleck to what he really was, because the opening cartoon is very Jungian in the fact that his shadow self kind of takes over because of the fame and adoration that he is seeing around him. And then what you get at the end of that cartoon is the police just beating the crap out of him because he's not really that guy. I mean,
Art Passenger.
Like, DA, you make an interesting point with regards to you expecting him to embrace the Joker. Well, I have to ask you this question. What can you define what the Joker is? And does that definition fit into something that Arthur Fleck is capable of achieving?
Well, I thought that was the growth. Yeah, I think again that's where you take this film and you grow him even further into that role. You know, it's not necessarily like he has to be the guy that he always was. Again, he's in a transformational period right now. And so if I'm the writer of that, I'm like, okay, like I thought what was interesting is that, you know, he seemed to be embracing some level of nihilism where he's just like, I don't give a damn anymore. I'm just going to destroy my life. I don't really care, you know, because of everything that's happened to him. And he finally snaps when he kills his mother, and he's moving forward into this nihilistic phase where I'm just going to kill everything and I don't give a damn. So I felt like, okay,
he's going to kill anything. He says he has.
Well, I mean, he kills, or, you know, he has his mindset of he killed his clown buddy.
It wasn't his buddy, it was the clown bully. Remember?
Oh, the bully. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Bully. Beating him up.
You're right.
On the subway, they're not innocent by any means. In fact,
no. Those guys
self-defense.
But
the buddy,
but the kind of character he was prior to that, right? Who was he prior to that? He was somebody that just took it. He just took it. Now he's not taking it anymore, and now he's just like, I don't give an F. I'm just going to go and do what it is that I need to do at this point. And I felt like that's the Joker. The Joker is chaos. The Joker is, I don't care. I don't care what happens. I don't care who I hurt. I don't care, you know, what happens to society. I'm moving forward with my agenda, and whatever that agenda happens to be in the moment, that's who the Joker is. And so I thought that this character would embrace that. And then when suddenly, you know, the Arthur Fleck side that always maybe wanted somebody to love has been, you know, struck by Harley Quinn, who steps into his life. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know, all of a sudden I have someone that cares about me. That's someone that loves me. That's someone that looks at me in a different light. How would that affect his Joker persona? That's the story. Maybe I came into this hoping to see that. That's the story I was interested in seeing, because I thought, that's going to be interesting. A guy that has this nihilistic mindset suddenly going into, I have something to live for. I don't need to be nihilistic. Here's a person that cares for me, even though she just wants him for the insanity of the Joker. I thought that would be an interesting, you know, topic to explore. They really didn't do that. They just said, you're just going to be Arthur Fleck again. You're just a nobody. You always have been a nobody. And, you know, Harley Quinn just really didn't fit in with this movie. Honestly, I don't even know why they had her. You know, they could have just did it.
He represents the thing he's always wanted, a girl.
Right. But then he doesn't even get
any girl. Like Harley Quinn, there's nothing about her that was Harley Quinn.
That's not about him. That was Joker. I mean, this is not a Joker Harley Quinn canon movie.
See, that's my problem. Is I get that stuff. I get that it's not. The problem is that you're going to use these names. You're going to use these characters, but it's not supposed to be.
Stop letting them use our toys.
Which is kind of a commentary on Hollywood. Stop making original stories but putting the IP veneer over top of them. Be authentic to the character, because the Harley Quinn character in this movie, she's a hybrid between Courtney Love and Amber Heard. She's the siren, like she is the siren, leading them to leading the sailors to their doom, because she wins him over through song.
Sang through his heart.
Yeah.
It's always, she represents the temptation, which is a very powerful point of the hero's journey. The hero always encountered the temptation, and that's kind of the point where they make or break. If they fall towards temptation, they will fail their heroic quest. They will become a villain, usually. And he failed big time, because not only is Arthur Fleck uniquely vulnerable to an affectionate woman towards him, he is defenseless against that. He has no defense. One thing he's always wanted. But on another note, going back to the murders, I went back and looked at the murders after I watched Joker 2, and one thing popped out, and he's not a murdering psychopath in the way we think the Joker would be. Every single one of those murders was personal. The first 3, they were beating him up. They're self-defense. He shot them all in self-defense, except for the third guy, where he's just outraged and like, how dare you do this? And he finished him off. So third guy's debatable. But who else does he kill? He kills the bully, the guy who bullied him and like gave him the gun and then blamed him for having the gun. This put it all on him. It's like, how dare you betray me? And then the other one he murdered was his mother, who really betrayed his trust and his mentality, saying that, just Thomas Wayne this, Thomas Wayne that. And he just really eventually grew to hate her because he'd read all the crap that she allowed him to go through, and just felt this sudden surge of betrayal. And that's why he killed Murray, because in the beginning of the first movie, we see that Murray is betrayed. Like, he sees Murray as his father figure. Like, he has a whole fantasy element where Murray's like, I wish I had a son like you. I'd give this all up if I just had a son like you, Arthur. And I used to live with my mother too, and all that stuff like that. So at the end, the ultimate betrayal, when he learns that it's just Murray doesn't see him as anything but a piece of a prop to make money from. And you know what, Murray, you wouldn't even think about stepping over me if I was just dead in the street. So every single murder in Joker 1 was personal to Arthur in some way, as opposed to him being a Joker-style psychopath that kills indiscriminately. So I thought, though, you think he would embrace that later on, but it doesn't really seem to fit his character, more or less. He definitely could have, but he chose not to in the end. He thought about it. In Joker 2, there is a fantasy where he's going around the courtroom, bashing in the head of the judge, and so we know the writers know that what we want, that what we want to see Arthur Fleck do, and they put it in the movie. But that's not Arthur Fleck. He realizes this later on, that this is not Arthur Fleck, and he's not a murdering psychopath. He killed those people because it was personal to him.
That's great, and we all understand that, and we still don't like the movie. And why call it Joker if you want to do it, bro? Are you trying to explain why you like it, or trying to help us understand why we should? Because we understand all of this. It's still not good.
Part of criticism is to say why you like something or why.
I get it, but I'm not understanding where
but I'm just saying what I liked about it.
That it's a Joker in name only, and that he's never Joker. And it's an Arthur Fleck.
I think that was true from the first movie too. It was Joker in name only.
Right.
Yeah, I think Gary said it on FNT. If you're going to play in someone's sandbox, there's still rules you have to follow. And when you don't follow those rules, that's when you get into situations like this.
True. And that's what I said earlier, which is that, again, the only way Todd Phillips was able to make Joker originally is by calling it Joker, because nobody wanted it when it was just a no-name script. So now we've got this commentary with this sequel that says, hey, this is why you should let us do our own thing, because now you've got an audience that is incredibly disappointed and upset with this movie. The one thing that actually kind of made me more accepting of this film as I was watching it is the irony of the subject matter at hand, which is that in normal media of Joker, Batman comics and whatnot, Joker is constantly deemed unfit to serve trial for his crimes, and he's thrown away to Arkham. Yet here we have Arthur Fleck, who is clearly not competent enough to stand trial, yet they compel him to do so, and they give him the death penalty. And I'm like, that's kind of funny, because in a normal world, people would be judges, psychologists would easily be able to say, this guy is mentally damaged. He is not fit to stand for trial for these types of crimes. He needs to go to a hospital, be heavily medicated, be heavily supervised. You don't try to dispose of him through the death penalty. But that's what they do in Joker. And I'm like, that's a clever inversion. That at least tells me that the people working on this movie were paying attention and wanting to have fun with doing it differently. And there's authenticity in that. It may not be crowd pleaser, which I completely understand, but at least it's not them saying, let's turn this sub 90 IQ guy from the first movie and make him a criminal mastermind where he's destroying the entire city Bonnie and Clyde style, or Paul Bernardo style, for those Canadians out there, and just run with it. Because I think, even though it might be a crowd pleaser at the start of the the it's run in theaters, I don't know if it actually be satisfying at the end of the day, because they'd be so different films.
I think that the Joker isn't a criminal master, or this version of the Joker, like a possible version of the Joker, would be a criminal mastermind. I think he would literally be chaos. Like, just let him be chaotic, and his followers and his minions and all the people that are out there following him, they're like, like they had the guys that picked him up at the end and say, "Yeah, man, let's go." Like that kind of thing would be happening. Like, Joker or Arthur Fleck would literally be Mr. Magooing his way through this entire situation, where he's not really the mastermind, but he's insane and he's crazy, but he has his followers and people are kind of, shepherding him where he needs to go. And maybe it's just by luck or maybe it's just by happenstance, but things start to work out where he becomes the Joker, where he's literally like, chaos happens and I'm at the center of it, and it all works for my benefit. I thought that would have been a really cool way to kind of finish this thing. Even if they killed him at the end, through some sort of a, he's in a heist or whatever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he remains the Joker. He's still the Joker. He's still that same mentality that we saw in the first film, because that's what worked. And I think people would have bought it. But musical and Arthur Fleck is just, the same guy that we found at the beginning of the first film. I don't think that works.
DA. They couldn't help themselves. They couldn't do what you just said, which would have been fine.
Yeah.
Nope.
I got to say something for a sec. First of all, Ladev, appreciate you here. I love contrarian opinions. I love that you brought up Last Jedi. I think that one of the things when it comes to lore and whatnot, you can break that or add to it and or change it if the character is true to what we know about the character. The reason Last Jedi upset so many people, and I foolishly was like, just wait, there's the third movie in the sequel trilogy, and Luke is going to be back. He'll cross over from the light side. He'll bring all the Jedi from the past. It'll be Endgame with Jedi. I was wrong. I'm more
of a Trekkie, and I had the same hope for Picard. I was with it. It's like, come, it's going to get good. It's going to get good. Didn't get good. It got worse.
So in that way, I think that's the source of people's frustration with this movie is he's not being Joker. Very few moments, or he wasn't allowed to. And now it's okay for me, like it's outside the continuity or whatever. It's Todd Phillips even said, like, they should have the a Black series or something and have standalone stories, which I'm okay with. I am totally fine with. But critics in this case, Alan, if you'll bring up Rotten Tomatoes, critics and audiences kind of agree on this film. But I have a couple examples to show. If you look at this, it's 33% critic score, 31% audience score, and also, by the way, the cinema score was a D. Now that is really low. That's general audience. Did you like the movie? Cinema score was a D, and I actually, the screening we were at, I voted on the cinema score. I actually
lowest
got that
superhero movie ever. Superhero movie.
Well, it's the lowest cinema score for a superhero movie ever. So
I gave it an F. I walked out and gave it an F.
I gave it a D. I think
that's in the DC world.
I agree with Dante. I think there are things in it that are there. I think the performances are very good. I couldn't
think of any cringy dialogue. Sorry to interrupt, Chris.
Yeah, sure.
I can't think of any really like cringy ideological cringy dialogue that was in this movie. It all kind of felt
seriously. Like, didn't feel Marvel humor, Marvel cringe in there,
Because I think most of come down to the fact that the choices the filmmakers made were not in alignment with the audience. That was what they're expecting. I also think that there's also some thought to be given to an audience wondering, did they expect something that technically wasn't really promised to them after the end of the first movie?
Fair.
Right.
I thought that the movie didn't need to exist, and that was the major problem, is that it was a one-off to begin with, and by making a sequel, this is Warner Brothers, honestly, in my opinion, that wanted this because it was $1 billion movie, and they wanted another hit, so they said, hey, go do a sequel to this. It's like, it was a sequel that nobody asked for. It's a sequel that nobody really needed. I don't think the end of the story really needed or asked for or demanded a sequel, and then when you decide to do that, it's like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and make a sequel, but now we're going to completely forget about everything that you liked or you enjoyed about about the original to begin with. It's similar to the situation when it comes to Star Wars. These guys don't understand why these people like the franchises and like these films and like these television shows. They don't get it. They don't understand what people like about it. Or if they do, they don't care. So it's like, if you're going to make a sequel to $1 billion movie, you would think, okay, let's kind of further the story of the Joker and kind of play into some of the same themes that worked the first time. But it's like they kind of didn't really care about it, or they just said, yeah, whatever. I really believe they just didn't care, and they just said, screw it, I'm just going to do the movie I want to do, which is fine. But now, don't sink $200 million into that, sink $50 million like you did the first time. Then you would be fine. But to sink $200 million into this is crazy.
That's what I was thinking about. Like, where did it all go, actually?
Yeah.
Right.
I guess licensing songs, maybe? I don't know. It's
did
like,
they build an actual courthouse and blow it up? Like,
Gore had all kinds of crazy stuff in there. It was $100 million. John McForr, $100 million. Crazy crap. They went to Paris. This one is like they're at a prison and at a courthouse. Where's the $200 million?
It went to the same money that everything from The Acolyte went to. They are building a spaceship and they are leaving. They have to be, because it's money laundering somehow. It
should have been the music. I mean, I'll be honest. On second viewing of the Joker 2,
oh no,
I did start understanding the music, why the songs were placed where they were. But the thing is I fully realized that I'm the anomaly, that I know these songs very well. And so when they're sung and they were sung in the context, it means something. But for me to then have to explain it to people, I don't want to. That's a waste of my time.
I can verify that.
At least I like well thought out.
I like musicals. I didn't like the musical numbers in this movie. It really made the movie drag for me because I didn't know the songs. And to me,
I did. I think that's the big thing. Is
I wager that even if you understood them, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Alan, do you
really
think
when they did the Carpenter song?
I knew I would get. I'm obviously missing some context here because I don't know the songs. I'm objectively missing things, but ultimately they made a drag for me. But the musical scenes really didn't do much as far as I could see. They kind of just reflected what we already knew from the writing. Like the every time we have an emotional turn, we have we get like a musical section where we get to visually see how Arthur Fleck is feeling in that moment. And that had been fine for like a little bit, but they dragged on so long. It didn't really seem like they went anywhere. There was no beginning, middle, and end. If you go to like a musical play, every musical number has a beginning, middle, and end. It moves the story along. If you want a real
remember who the narrator is in this musical story, Lit Dove. That's Arthur Fleck. He doesn't understand what musicals are. And one of the key aspects of musicals is that when the character who we're following enters into the musical number, it's connected to what they want and do. But Arthur Fleck doesn't have that faculty to him. So it's part of his own madness as well with the musical. So that's why they don't quite make sense.
Yeah, where a song triggers a feeling.
Song triggers a feeling, and the song is just there. Or
it doesn't help that Arthur Fleck can't sing.
Is the music is like, I mean, this isn't a musical; it's a cabaret, because the songs are not original songs. They weren't written for this story, and they weren't written for the moments of these stories. But they reflect an emotion and feeling. I think that's the biggest problem, especially if you don't know the music, that you're just not going to catch on to that. And again, as much as I loved it, I understand that me trying to explain it to people, it just means it's not my job to explain it. It's the film's job to have explained it.
Yeah, and if they didn't convey it properly enough for the audiences to understand, that is not the fault of the audience. That's the fault of the filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. So was making it a musical a terrible idea? Was it a bad idea, or a cabaret, or whatever it is? Was it?
Yeah,
just
for me, it wasn't.
The way they did it, I don't think it was done very well. At least it could have been done better.
Alan, let's take a look at the box office. If you would bring that up.
Sure.
And we can compare it to the first Joker, which was a financial hit, a movie made for,
65 million-ish.
60 million, somewhere around there. Yep. That grossed $1 billion, highest grossing R-rated movie until Deadpool and Wolverine. This weekend gross in 4,100 theaters, per theater average of 9,200. $37.8 million.
Let's throw the international in there because that's a little more interesting.
Yeah, the international was kind of impressive. 77 million for a total worldwide box office take of 114.8 million. It's gonna be tough for profitability. The reported budget was what, 200?
Yeah.
How did this cost 200? There's a movie that's coming out.
Got 20.
I asked.
Right, but there is a movie that will be out later this year. It's going to be nominated for so many Oscars. It's called The Brutalist. The Brutalist.
Mm-hmm.
The Brutalist was made for 10 million. It's an epic. It's a war epic. So I've yet to see it. I'm hearing people telling me about it. I can't wait to see it. It's with Adrian Brody. Anyways.
So you can make a Godzilla movie and a war movie under $10 million.
Right.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is Robert Meyer Burnett, who was supposed to be here today, couldn't make it, was on a stream recently talking about Hollywood. He said they've forgotten how to make movies. Now, what he meant by that was not exactly how to physically make a movie, how to make a movie inexpensively, which is the producer's job. And when a budget balloons to the hundreds of millions in some crazy way, it's really bad producing. It's skimming off the top. It's hiring friends and paying them too much. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It should be the red flag of Hollywood, and it used to be actually up until like the 80s, and then it's completely changed. Like all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, you want me to not hire this person who actually helped us get the credit what we needed or secure the deals? Like, yeah, you can hire them, but don't pay them 13% of what the budget is. Like give them that 1.3 or something that they normally would get back in the day. It's just it's incredibly inflated. Now the metrics that I'm seeing here just from this opening weekend seem to be in line with what the metrics were back in 2019, because domestically, Joker only took 300 and change domestically, but then took 7 and change internationally. So about 3 times, or sorry, 2.25 times what it was before. I don't know if this movie's going to have legs. I really don't think that audiences are going to be satisfied with it. So this might be, you might get lucky if we get 60 million domestic, but the international box office, you've got like the French, they're crazy people. They might really like this. And they might.
So what does this top out at? Maybe 3 if we're lucky. 300 worldwide.
3, yeah.
I would say wouldn't be surprising that it hit 500, but I think it'd be 500 or less.
Yeah, and international takes a big chunk out of that too. It's not like they're getting the whole thing.
Well, Alan, you went to see the movie a second time, which I am surprised that you did. Who else saw this movie more than once?
Oh man, no, I'm one and done. I'm out.
Well, again, Regal is doing if you see it 3 times, you get a lot of bonus points. So I'm one away from getting the
bribing. We did a video on it, but on that,
you get a toaster if you see this thing 3 times, right?
Well, I'll get a free drink.
Let me share some thoughts from David Poland. He has a blog called The Hot Button. He's done that for years. He also has a YouTube channel. Look up The Hot Button, David Poland. Shout out to him. He is someone I look to. I enjoy his opinions. He is often a contrarian. He also did not initially like the Joker, but here's what he has to say. I returned to Joker 2 over the weekend, and while I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it in the next month, I had the feeling by the end of the film that this may be one of those movies that it gets rediscovered in a few years and actually becomes a critic's favorite. I know it sounds nuts, but having seen and digested the film once before, a lot of it played differently for me the second time, including a surprising degree of reflection on Donald Trump in The Tale. Let me just don't get triggered. Let me finish a bit.
I'm willing to hear what he has to say.
Anyways, I'll put the link to this in the description.
Donald Trump.
But to my eye, the number one problem in the reception of the movie is that Warner's didn't make a mistake in greenlighting the film or giving Todd Phillips too much rope, but how it sold the film and managed the negative reaction in Venice. Start with the one sheet in Joker Folie. It never happens in the movie. And that shot from the trailer of them dancing down the steps, never happened.
Right.
Yeah,
that was in the movie.
There was a sequence with her in that dress and him in that makeup, and there are set shots of them on the stairs.
Can't they get sued for that? Because can't they get sued for that? Because Infinity War, they had Hulk CGI, and then there was a whole thing. The Hulk didn't show up in that. It was the Hulkbuster armor, and then there was a lawsuit that you can't show things in the trailer that don't end up.
You can't promise an actor in your trailer that doesn't appear in the movie.
Yeah,
that was the lawsuit.
Because trailers have actually put in alternate takes, or even what they call like what was it? Duck blind scenes. Primarily to get, not necessarily to convince you to get into the movie, but to make sure that you get a surprise when you're watching the movie.
Like in No Way Home, when they edited out the other villains when they're jumping towards it, it looks like just one.
Well, they actually just edited out the two Spider-Man guys, but they didn't edit the villains, so they're being punched and hit.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, exactly.
When I first watched,
they didn't include Spider-Man in Civil War during the airport thing. They wanted to keep that a surprise. So.
Yeah, I could read this whole thing. I think it's David Poland, one of my favorite guys to read Contrarian Opinion. He's also happens to be very long-winded. It's my only complaint about David.
We'll do it Wednesday.
We'll do it Wednesday. But he says this is not a movie about Joker and Harley Quinn going on a rampage, right? And he says that the Folie referenced in the film is not Joker and Harley, it's Joker and Arthur. But this is a great article. But the point I'm making by showing this and sharing it with you is that it is, and having been around covering film as long as I have, there's your initial reaction to a movie. There's what you think of it, how it ages, why you return. For some reason, you feel compelled to return to a film. We all have movies like this that either they age better, sometimes worse, a lot of times worse when it comes to things like Marvel films. Initial reaction, that was fun. You look at it more, that was crap. But a lot of movies have this reaction. So are you going to revisit it? Will it age better? And I always thought, like, people have commented, I actually think it would have been interesting to see like a Natural Born Killers crime spree with Joker and Harley and him breaking out of prison. I don't know. That's kind of where I thought it might have been going. But your thoughts on this, sort of a re-review, as it were. Do you amend your opinions on things?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But I think this the Joker 2 movie is going to be incredibly conducive to that, because it has a lot of stuff in there that I've seen this around too, other opinions too, where they watched it again or they thought about it more and more, and they find more stuff to like about it. I have seen that part of it. You can dislike the movie. Maybe people will dislike the movie for very good reasons, but I think some people will go in there and find new things, because it's less as everyone is angry about or dislikes what they dislike about the movie, is that it doesn't give you the emotional payoff you need. It made you a promise, as Brandon Sanderson would say. It made you a promise that it did not keep. At the beginning, it's kind of building up Arthur, that it's going to be him and Harley Quinn building it up and becoming, it's becoming more and more of the Joker, and it's going to be it promised you the epic climactic confrontation between Arthur the Joker, Harley Quinn, his followers against the system. But at the moment of climax, it failed. Didn't take the blue pills that morning. So that's why everyone feels let down. There was no catharsis. There was no release of emotion. And a lot of us, a big part of most movies is it builds up to that big emotional catharsis. To see the villain die, to see the hero win the day, the girl saved. The Joker 2 did not give us that. So that's why so many people feel, including myself, emotionally let down by the end. But it's more on where people will like the movie is more, I guess, on the cerebral level, where you think about what's trying to say, think about what it did objectively. It did not give us the emotional payoff, but the things that it's trying to say, the things that are in there, are things that some people might like. And it's not maybe for the general audience. It's not you're not obligated to like the movie, because it failed to give you what it promised. But there are things in there, I think, to like.
I actually think there's a great parallel to Joker 2 with Joker 1, and that is, so in Joker 1, Maury is Joker's idol. He loves him. He wants to be like him. He wants his acceptance. And in Joker 2, the public, like Joker, want to be like Joker, admire him. But when he betrays them, just like how Maury betrays Arthur Fleck in the first movie, what happens at the end? He gets what he effing deserves, and it's stabbing.
What he deserves. I agree.
There's symmetry there.
But here's it's like rhymes. It's like poetry.
Yeah, it's like poetry and rhymes. Yeah, exactly. It's rings within rings.
I think the problem you're going to have with any rewatchability of this film is that it is the Joker, and it's not the Joker. I mean, the Joker is the biggest DC villain. Let's face it. He's the biggest DC villain. He's the biggest, one of the biggest characters in comic book history. And the fact that you put this character in front of Joker fans, like a lot of people did go to see the original Joker because of the name of the film. And if you had just made it any other film, it wouldn't have made $1 billion. So a lot of people wanted to come back and just continue the story of the Joker. And the fact that you gave us this movie, I don't think a lot of people are coming back for seconds. They're like, yeah, okay, good. I saw it once. I hated it. I'm never coming back to it. So the idea of re-reviewing this and finding something more in this, it's going to get lost on a lot of people. Sure, a lot of fans, a lot of, DC fans, perhaps, a lot of film critics will go back and review it, and they'll give it, maybe a different look and see it in a different way. But I think a lot of your mainstream general audience they're just going to forget about this all the way around because it's really not. Right, yeah, they don't care. So yeah, for us and for the pundits and for everybody else, yeah, they'll probably go back and they'll find it and they'll dissect it and they'll tell people, hey, it's not as bad as you thought it was on your second watch. But most people are just going to be like, I'm good, because it's really not the Joker. And I like the first film because, hey, I could kind of see that guy becoming the Joker.
Which is why the majority of people that go back won't be DC fans. Sorry, Chris.
All except for Alan.
Yes.
He understood
the great movie. Come on, everybody.
Well, one thing we have to kind of remind ourselves is that leading up to the first Joker in 2019, how many people were saying, why are you making this movie? Why does this movie need to be made? And yet the merit of the movie made you like it because, again, the whole nobody asked for this is a very straw man argument because nobody does actually ask for art to be made for them unless you're into AI, because then you're going to get comfort food that sucks.
Exactly what you deserve.
But then what happened? What happened? Oh, it was a hit and people loved it, and it got 95 or 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it caught fire and everybody loved it. It got I forgot what cinema score
it got like
was.
67 and 89, I think.
Pretty high. They made a lot of
second, again, you're talking about one of the biggest pivotal characters in the history of comic books. But when you follow it up with this, I don't think people are going to be coming back for this. Because, even though there might be some gold in them Dar Hills, I don't think people are going to be coming back for this because you didn't really give me the Joker. Now you're deconstructing the Joker at this point, and you're turning him into a chump. So I'm not really here to see the Joker become a chump. So deuces, I'm out.
I agree. I think this movie's going to age well with critics. Yeah, and the regular audience is just going to forget about it.
Yeah, cinephiles of the next generation will probably like it instead. Yeah.
The thing is, people are just burnt out, right? They're burnt out. They're tired of the bait and switch.
Yep.
They're not going to support it anymore. They're just not, man. And again, we get it. We understand. We're not stupid. We know what this is all supposed to represent, but that's not the point. You came in dishonest, right? You gave us a movie about Gotham City, right? About the Joker. You bring in Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, Bruce Wayne as a kid, right? You bring in all the names, and then you want to pretend like it's not a movie about the Joker, right? I think people are just tired of it. I think this movie's going to age probably better with critics, and with everyone else, like Derek said, it's just going to be forgotten.
Well, I agree with you, Dante. Like colossal failures that take a real swing creatively, I think they do tend to, they're worth taking a second look. I'm not into it now. The audience that we saw it with, literally, you could hear a pin drop. It was so quiet. Dante, you were there. We got up and no one clapped.
Not only that, you can hear groans.
Actually, my audience clapped. Groans. My audience clapped. They loved it. I was in a packed theater in Toronto. They were, I didn't clap. I was just like still digesting it, but they were all like really happy with the movie.
Alan, you're very alone. Alan, you are alone in your opinion. You're very alone. I am alone. You're home alone. That's what you are. Anyway,
when he compared Joker 1 to Joker 2, it's kind of what Joker 1 was more appealing to everyone because it did keep its promises. It began with a promise of here's Arthur Fleck. He's miserable. He's stomped on. He's degraded. Everyone hates him and finds him creepy. All he wants to do is make the world better. He's a clown. He just wants to make people laugh. But every single time he tries, he gets spat upon. And all throughout the film, it gets worse and worse and worse until the moment he's deprived of his medication because the society that's supposed to be helping him out forgets about him, refuses to help him out anymore. So he's continuing on his medication, and we build up his anger, his frustrations are unrestrained. It's Arthur in full bloom, Arthur complete, and he gets his confidence back. That's what the Joker is to Arthur Fleck. It's the personification of his confidence. And then boom, later on, it's a build up to a literal boom right through Murray's head. And that's we get that catharsis. Yes, they finally, he struck back at the man who betrayed him because Murray at that point is the face of society. He's the face of the smiling face of the world that kind of smiles in your face and tells you everything's okay and entertains you, keeps you docile. And
it's a good origin story. I mean, again, Joker really doesn't have an origin story, but it's a good origin story if you sit back and think about it. Like, yeah, that could be how Joker, possibly came into existence, if you sit back and look at that first film. But the problem is that the second film doesn't build upon that, and it absolutely destroys the character from the original, at least the character we knew towards the end. Maybe it's more of like, yeah, this is really who he always was, but that's not what audiences expected. They expected to see the Joker come into his own probably fully. And that's the problem when you have these giant franchises that like DC. There was an article that was out, and I'm sure you guys already covered it, about the Superfan focus group. And one of the lines in that article where it mentions that a lot of these studios are banking on this devotion to these giant franchises that these audiences have. They have this blind devotion almost. It's like, yeah, you have an established audience. Okay, you want to bring them a film, you're going to give them what they want or what they expect at least. This did none of that. All right, this second film, this did none of that. The first film, yes, it kind of gave us an idea of how the Joker could have came into being. The second film absolutely destroyed any idea we ever had of the Joker. And so when it comes to that, there's no, you can't win. That is bad
what
strategy.
Harley says, DA. We gave up on the fantasy because this was never the fucking thing we wanted. We had the fantasy that maybe he turned into a Joker, and it was never that, and it was never going to be that. And I guess we just have to. He's so fucking clever. See this 3D chess he's playing? We gave up on the fantasy, DA, and now that's all we'll ever have.
Or you were sold the fantasy, which is part of like the 15 minutes of fame celebrity, right? Which is that you see someone, they say something great, you like them, you follow them. The true celebrity actually leads their own celebrity and leads their own path. But the 15-minute celebrity capitulates to an audience through manipulation. They burn out and they fade away. And that's, I think, what Joker 2 was trying to convey.
We're also sold the idea that the trailers were amazing.
The second movie brought up an interesting idea, like the Joker that causes chaos by standalone complex, where he doesn't do anything. It's just all these individuals acting on their own, and it seems like a plan.
Yeah,
that's kind of Arthur Fleck's power. He's not actually an icon. It's kind of what the idea was, that
he told them to protest peacefully. I don't understand.
He was an icon in their eyes. They saw him as the Heath Ledger Joker. That's what he was in their eyes. But really, he was just a guy with low impulse control. He killed these guys. He killed Murray on national TV. All these murders were personal to him. And then they made him this leader. They made him this icon, and he was never this mastermind. He was never this leader. And that was even in the first movie. He's like, "Are you trying to make this a political movement?" He's like, "No, it wasn't." And it was just all personal to him. He was never trying to be this guy. The only reason why he wanted to feed into that in the second movie was because Harley Quinn stepped in and act as what Jordan Peterson would call the dark feminine, the temptress, and she was the one that nurtures the Joker out of him. And he tried, first time he's got this girl who loves him. He wants to be the Joker for her. But what happens before that? What happens before this? The thing is, Arthur Fleck in an interview in Joker 2 was like, "Why are you asking me about the Joker? Why aren't you asking me how I am now?" And he throws like an insane rant about that. He's so tired of people like going back to the Joker, going back to his past. He wants everyone to ask how he is now. I'm not.
Yeah, we get it. We're the audience. We're the ones only asking and caring about the Joker, and we shouldn't. We should be caring about. But fuck Arthur. That's the point. I get it.
The Joker is Arthur. That's the idea. There was never a Joker. Joker and Arthur are the same person.
And the idea of the Joker was thrusted upon him because, again, his murders were personal, as you said, but everybody in the city inferred another meaning to that, and that's what they ran with.
Who was the visitor that showed up at the end? Who do we think the visitor was? Because we're going in circles here. Who do you think showed up at the end?
Set up to kill him.
I thought it was just a setup to kill him.
It's like a setup.
I thought it was.
Get stabbed because the guards hate him. They hate him. They hate his guts.
Well, the thing is, too, if they would have just set up, okay, even a story where, yeah, maybe Arthur Fleck isn't the real Joker. Maybe it was thrust upon him. But they're setting up the fact that the real Joker took inspiration from him. And that's who we get in Gotham, the real Joker at the end.
Yeah.
That's the real Joker. But they didn't even set that up right.
Well,
yeah, I mean, you have the guy killed
the
at
audience.
the end.
That's a fair inference, too.
And you see him, like, cutting his lips or whatever. And like the Heath.
Only the diddler.
But they did a better job of kind of showing that the real Joker is, who we got the inspiration from Arthur Fleck. And then that would have been a kind of at least something. But
I don't know how I got these scars.
Yeah, just something like.
Well, they kind of showed the guy at the end, kind of.
Yeah, he does the Glasgow smile.
The Glasgow smile a little bit.
You know what I mean?
But it was
he got that inspiration from Arthur Fleck. That could have even been something if they did it right. But none of this led to that, or none of it paid off to that.
It's all well and good, folks, but if I'm to have an origin story, I prefer it to be multiple choice. And it ain't Arthur Fleck, for sure. And
that was
even the other one.
He's like answer B as opposed to C.
Right. That was a great Mark Hamill Joker.
Thank you, Chris.
Congrats.
I want to go back for a second what Script said, where there are parallels between Joker 1 and Joker 2. One of the large moments in Joker 2, right before he turns tail and says, I can't actually do this, is his confrontation with Mr. Puddles. Is that your name?
Southern country voice was great.
He did a good job. He did a good job. But here's the thing. Before that, we roll it back a little bit. Puddles is walking down the center aisle. What's happening? People are laughing at him. The audience, the people there to watch the courtroom are laughing at him. So Puddles is also an outcast in his own right. People are laughing at him. And then they made him say the most ridiculous line I've ever heard. I can't believe they made him say this, but he's like, oh, you made me feel so small. And it sounds silly on the surface, but then he continues. He puts forth his emotions, he's broken inside. This is a man who's been fearful and broken. Like, you know how it feels, Arthur? You're the only one who didn't make fun of me, and now you're this evil freaking villain. And he's like so angry. He's so afraid. He's so broken because his one friend Arthur is this insane psychopath. And right after that, Arthur is going, no more questions, Your Honor. And then that's when Mr. Puddles breaks down. He goes, you know what you made me feel like, Arthur. You betrayed me. You made me feel afraid. You're the only one who had my back. And that's when you hear the Joker break a little bit. Arthur Fleck break a little bit. He goes, I said no more questions, Your Honor. Like he realized something. And that's kind of, I think, where the trek comes from, where it begins, where he's realizing that he can't do this. He cannot become this messiah figure that everyone, especially Harley Quinn, wants him to be. But the thing is, it's parallel to the first Joker movie. It's parallel to what happened the first time, where he was the oh yeah, hold on. It becomes parallel later on when he's after the scene. He's thrown in the prison, and he hears his friend get killed.
Right.
So the parallel to what Mr. Puddles went through in the first movie, he's going through now, listening to his friend get killed by these guards, and he feels himself really small and helpless.
Not only that, the guards that were treating him kind of nice all the way up until that point when they got insulted by, Joker's insult, and then stripped him down, washed him off, beat him up, threw him into his cell, and then they take his friend, and all he can do is hear them beating the crap out of the guy he kissed. What was his, like,
and he can do nothing about it.
Yeah,
I don't even know his name, but I just know that he was like really loyal to the Joker. They were as closest friends as you could possibly get in that location. All I could do was listen to him die, and so he felt the same way Puddles did earlier that day, and I think that's what broke him eventually.
One thing you missed was that Arthur was making fun of Mr. Puddles' name.
Oh yeah, he was. He was making fun of him. He was having a laugh. He was trying to be the Joker. And then towards the end of that same segment, that's when he broke, because that's when he listened to Puddles go, "You were my only friend, Arthur. You were the only one who did make fun of me." And then it proceeded from there.
And then remember that pivotal scene, the first one, where Puddles couldn't open the door of his apartment, so he got up and he helped him with the lock, and
he helped him out. Yeah.
Just amazing. Can't wait till this movie gets all the awards. Really
can't wait till it comes out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, because you and your creative friends are the only ones that are going to be fucking watching it. Meanwhile, the vast majority of the DC audience, of which all the characters should have been based in story, are left with another failed property that further lowers our shit. Again, we let our toys out and they came back destroyed. And for who? For what? So you guys can have this very fun conversation about how deep and meaningful it was. Meanwhile, what's my Joker and Harley movie?
It's the brand damage, right?
It's really
no, but
failure. The
Badger's right, man. It's the brand damage. That's the biggest problem. They are damaging this brand every single time they release something that the audience don't want. Make your own original creative ideas, but stop damaging the DC brand. That's what I want them to do. You can make this. You can make this exact same movie in another franchise, or not even with the franchise. Arthur Fleck. That's the name of your movie. Stop damaging DC, because they're making it hard for this franchise to grow beyond what it is. Because they keep.
But they tried making it an Arthur Fleck film,
not destroying,
and nobody wanted it until they called it Joker. That's the problem.
People love the first movie. I mean, it embarrassed Marvel. How bad of a damage was the brand?
I say thank God for the Penguin. Like, I think the Penguin is saving them right now.
But this movie didn't damage the Penguin.
Like, luckily, you know what? And I had that solace after I saw the Joker and how bad it was. My first thought was, oh, thank God the Penguin is this Sunday.
Yeah, and it didn't disappoint. So yes, thank God we got that.
So brand is not damaged. That's the point.
What, Alan?
The brand is not damaged.
Oh, yes, it is.
No,
severely.
It's damaged, bro.
We are enjoying the Penguin.
That's not because it's DC.
Joker has not lessened our enjoyment of the Penguin.
I agree.
But look at last year.
That's
look at 23. Look at 2023 when you have what was it? Shazam. You had Blue Beetle. You had Flash. You had not Black Adam. Aquaman. Thank you. You had just terrible films that came out that just lessened the DC brand.
Right, but I would say that those movies damaged it more than this movie.
A lot more. They destroyed Superman's character with Man of Steel.
Okay, it's not helping.
Well,
sure,
the other part
is
another regime. And Joker 2 is technically not a DC Studios production. It's actually its own thing. Because
don't you get semantical with me? It's called fucking Joker. It's connected. I don't care if they said it's Elseworld. I don't care if they said it was traditional. Stop it.
Right. When people go into a movie, I don't know how well they're paying attention to, well, this is not in the DC cinematic universe or whatever. They're just looking at DC Studios on the front, or the letters DC, knowing that this is the Joker. And they're saying, boy, the guys that are behind DC films suck. These guys don't know how to make movies, and kind of getting that way with Marvel as well. But nevertheless, the brand damage is the brand of DC. And now everything that comes out from DC is looked at with a little bit more scrutiny, a little bit less. And it should be. Honestly, it should be. But at the end of the day, I want the brand to be healthy. All right. I'm a DC guy more than Marvel guy. So maybe it's just a personal thing for me. Mm-hmm. But I want the brand to be healthy. All right. Superman, the movie that Superman, Super Slash Man, that was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
We need DC to get back to doing that kind of work. All right, instead of doing this crap.
Well, luckily, this is the end of that part, because James Gunn's Superman is coming out next year. He and Peter Safran are trying to convey as strongly as possible that this is going to be a movie about a Superman that's kind, that's a kind person in a world that's not very kind, which seems to be hearkening back to the more successful days of the character. I'm hoping he delivers. We can only take a guess at this point.
Well, I'm making a scowling, hateful Superman. I thought that was the good Superman these days.
I just think it's ironic how so many people like that part of the DC Studios films of Zack Snyder stuff. Yet the one movie, the one that's 4 hours long, has the least amount of Henry Cavill in it compared to all of them individually.
Yeah, I have faith in James Gunn, so I think he can do it. I think this movie does not help, like Derek said, though. It doesn't help the brand. At the end of the day, at best, this movie's going to be forgotten. At best.
Hopefully. Highlander 2.
Joker 2. I mean, he's obviously not the Joker because he dies and never fights Batman. So it's pretty easy to remove him from that situation.
Well, yeah. And look, and here's the thing. We all knew that. We all knew that with the first Joker, that this was not going to be mainstream Batman Joker. We all understood that. None of us went into this thinking, oh, this is the story of the Joker, right? Like maybe some normies did, but none of us thought that.
Yeah, if you watch the movie, obviously it's not the Joker because it's like some weirdo, Arthur Fleck. But I think the real damage from other things that do origin stories and everything is that, oh, this is the character that you know, and they like to do this a lot in Disney, especially from Disney. They like to do this a lot where this is the origin of the character you know. It's like completely weird, like the Cruella or whatever. All these movies, they change everything around. They mix up the story. They make them the good guy or something. These villain origin stories. I think that would be far more damaging had Joker been that. They definitively said this is the Joker that Batman fights, because that's a damaging element in these other movies where they have a villainous origin story. This is the character that you know from this movie that you like. Joker had the benefit of being removed from that. This is not the Batman Joker. This is not the one he fights. It's a different guy that probably inspired the one that Batman fights.
All right. Well, I want to pivot the discussion. I think this will continue. We'll see what the second weekend box office is for Joker. I think it will drop more than 50% dramatically. It's going to be a dramatic drop. But
most likely,
yeah. So we will continue this conversation about Joker next week. We're going to go to Super. No, I got another topic.
I'm happy to move on.
We've been on this for an hour. You're right. Yeah, it's been an hour.
It's just like, what does the chat want?
Move on.
I'm happy to continue discussing the Joker and drag you all down this circle of hell with me.
I can't find the other.
I choose mental health and to pivot.
No.
Pivot.
So my final thoughts is let's see what happens second weekend. I'm curious people who will revisit it to see if there's something more there. But a big story dropped last week. And I want to bring it up on screen, and I want to bring in another guest. And this is Disney bad at Star Wars? Now, I can't even think of a more obvious thing. Is Disney bad at Star Wars? And joining us, Anna, that Star Wars girl.
Hello.
Hello. Sanity.
Anna is loved by all on the internet. I just want to loved by all,
especially
and never controversial.
Not at all.
Not at all. But this story dropped, and the reaction was a big duh. And we'll get into it. I'm going to scroll down a bit. I shared the link in the chat. Is Disney bad at Star Wars? And analysis. And Alan and I are going to EFAP this on Wednesday. High budgets, scrapped projects, fan backlash. It's been 12 years since Disney bought Star Wars, and it's a galaxy far, far away, arguably has too many broken toys.
Broken dreams too.
Right. I put the link in the private chat there, but your initial thoughts on this, and because the story goes on to really point out that it points out the flaws, Disney's flaws in satisfying fans, but really turns it around. They are doing a good job. So they're playing it both ways. They've got the clickbait title that you can react to, but really in the end, this is a totally self-serving suck up to Lucasfilm. So I want to get your thoughts for those who have read through the whole thing.
Yeah, I just think it's clickbait.
Yeah,
that's all. These people are cowards, man. They're never going to tell the truth about what's happening at Lucasfilm and Disney. So, I think people have this weird hope right now that things are turning around and the tide is turning. It's not, guys. The tide isn't turning. People think all the woke stuff's about to go away. No, it's not going away. They're going to double down on it. They're going to keep doubling down on it. And they're going to take anything that's successful and transfer those funds into more bullshit. So, no, the tide isn't turning. These people are cowards. They're going to continue to pander.
That's what Disney's
let Star Wars
known
go.
for.
Star Wars has been infected with a zombie virus. It's just dying. You have to let it go. Shoot it with a shotgun.
It's old Yeller at this point, you know.
Pretty much.
That's kind of the way I feel too.
Anna, yell at them. Tell them how horrible they are, please.
Let's go.
I've been doing it for years, man.
I
They don't
know.
listen to me.
But see, we keep saying this. We keep saying, "Oh, it's dead, it's over," but it's not. They're going to keep making more shit.
Yeah, they have to. They have to try and see if they can pay off that huge debt that they levied when they bought it from George Lucas. But it's funny. They just don't seem to have the right team in place in order to do what's needed and to make this money. I mean, Chris Gore.
You need more women creators.
You know, Disney only knows how to make stuff for girls. And so when they bought a boys' brand, that's what they did. They're like, well, how do we sell this? Well, what do we do for girls? Well, let's do that. It's like, no, you don't do it that way.
Well, it's also a bad idea that they keep saying that they keep dismissing male opinions in a franchise that's predominantly beloved by men. Like, shouldn't men have more weight to their opinions in a franchise predominantly loved by men?
Well, you can say what you always say.
My quote tweet about it is very clear, and people were quoting me from like over a year ago
because it keeps getting proven true.
Right. And I just said, you're just now figuring this out. As I've stated previously,
first time.
Turning Star Wars from a boy brand into a girl brand will prove to be the costliest decision in movie history.
Same with Marvel.
To be clear, Star Wars is a boy brand that girls can love. Anna loves Star Wars. You are, you know a lot about aspects of Star Wars. Even I don't know.
The 6 movies in the expanded universe.
And I think women who like Star Wars like it because it's for boys, right?
Well, growing up, all the toys are in the boy aisle.
Right. And it doesn't mean women can't like Star Wars. It's a boy. I talked to a friend of mine who works in children's animation, and she told me something that I thought was really interesting. She's writes animation scripts for years, and she said, girls will watch a show made for boys like G.I. Joe or, anything that's targeting boys. Girls will watch it, right? Boys, conversely, will not watch a show. Boys will not watch a show made for girls. So I think part of the reason last year, the biggest movie, I don't know if it was the biggest or second to Oppenheimer, but Barbie was the biggest. They knew the audience. The audience was adult women, fans of Barbie who loved Barbie as a kid. And it became not just a movie, it was an event. And good on them. And it doesn't mean that men can't like Barbie or gay men can't like Barbie, or mostly gay men probably like Barbie. But all I'm saying is...
But we weren't the target audience.
Right. And that's okay. Women can love Barbie and no one is saying they can't love it. And same thing with Star Wars, but it is primarily for boys. By shifting it into a girl brand or another female-led brown-haired British accent woman
Kathleen
leading
Kennedy
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying it's kind of at this point it's kind of obvious, but I want to get everyone's take on all of this story that dropped, and I put the link we'll share it with everybody.
One thing that was interesting about the Barbie movie is that it was made for women, obviously, but the fact is Ken became the star of that movie, and if you looked at it, they got really angry when everyone started liking Ken. I was like, I just couldn't help but think to myself, now you see how it feels. First time.
right.
Taste of your own medicine. The man got all the attention from your stupid girl movie. Ha ha ha. And then the second thing is there is a story that I've heard floating around about One Piece, something that the author Oda did, where he gets constant barrages of letters from female fans asking, "Oh, put Luffy in a romantic relationship. Oh, do this, change this, change that." And Oda says, Oda responds according to the story with, "I understand what you're trying to say, what you want me to do, but I'm not going to do it. This is a story for boys and men, and you're welcome to like it, but I'm not going to change it for you." And
good.
What's one of the most popular anime right now? Oh, One Piece. Which is the one that had the most popular live action remake? Oh, One Piece. That's right.
It understood its audience. It understands its audience, you know.
Well,
So if you make something for the target audience shows up, and anybody that stands on the periphery that might like this, they'll show up too. It's like, hey, you know what? Star Wars may have not been made for women, but there's plenty of women that enjoy Star Wars for what it is, you know. Just like there's guys that like Barbie, you know. You don't have to put monster trucks and, you know, like attack helicopters in Barbie in order for guys to like it. Some guys like, hey, it was made for women, and I enjoy
like
it.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's guys that like the
Women
movie.
like
It's like,
Star
hey,
Wars.
I mean,
it's a good movie.
I really like Ken. Ken was awesome in that movie.
Dude,
But if you went out of your way to make a
I thought
Barbie
it was fine.
movie,
I think every single guy on this panel liked Barbie more than I did, and I'm the whammon.
I didn't watch it, Anna, because I'm a heterosexual.
And you know what? You probably enjoyed it more than I did by not even watching it.
Probably.
But
look at My Little Pony. It was loved by little girls and grown-ass men.
Let's not look at My Little
bronies,
Pony,
I mean-
actually.
But honestly, women don't care
love my
about
brother.
other women. They care about men. So, like, look at Twilight. That's a whammon franchise. Nobody gives a shit about Bella. Everybody likes Edward or Jacob.
Hashtag
So
Team Edward.
when you get Ryan Gosling as Ken in a Barbie movie, girls do like Margot Robbie, but they're still going to like the guy because you get a bunch of middle-aged single women or divorcee women, and they want to still look at Ryan Gosling because even though he's in his 40s, he's still in shape.
Look how good Thor did. Because
Yeah,
of
look
women.
how good the first Aquaman movie did when it was advertised that he was going to be shirtless the whole movie. Less than 7 minutes. I want my $20 back.
So miscast.
That deserves a D. I mean, that's what deserves a D.
Yeah.
Shut up. He was perfect for those 7 minutes.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
not
win
F.
for you.
That's all that
He was
matters.
supposed to be 6'4". He was
It's not an F. It's a
short
D for
king.
7 minutes.
Well, would you agree, Anna? Like, for example, I think this is a weird trope, and Film Threat even did a couple videos on this. It's every male character in a Marvel movie gets shirtless.
Good.
No, but then I'm saying, I
There you go.
think they knew that, and I think that even like San Diego Comic-Con was a mostly male attended event. If you saw a woman at Comic-Con in the 90s, it was like a Bigfoot
Unicorn.
sighting. It was like a unicorn or a Bigfoot sighting. But since it was like 2007 when Twilight got big,
Yep.
when Marvel movies got big, and now it is fully, you go to a con like LA Comic-Con, San Diego, it is 50-50 male, female.
Yep.
It is.
I
So-
honestly
It's the women's
think that
fault.
there's actually more girls there because of the cosplay and everything.
Yes.
And honestly, good. I like it should be mixed up, man. But it doesn't mean that the brands have to cater to the
Capitulate.
modern audience. You know what I mean? Like it's
They were already there for the food. You don't need to change the recipes.
that's what I'm saying.
Listen, I'm okay with Thor looking the way that he does in movies,
But
right?
put
Like,
Natalie Portman next to him is what I'm saying. Get her naked too. Give both sides something.
well, I mean, I think Natalie Portman looked great in Star Wars. Like they didn't have to really sexualize her. I mean, even that the like leather outfit that she wore in the second episode, she's completely covered, but that was like the dominatrix outfit that George
Midriff.
was talking
Had a collar.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Natalie Portman, I don't really see her as like a sexual person, the way that like you would see Aquaman coming out of the water, you know?
Yeah, but
kind
I
of
was a
thing.
teenage boy, and much like Anakin,
But
I
that's
was
the
a
thing, you can do
thirsting.
it tastefully. You can have
Yes,
Natalie
they did it
Portman and
tastefully.
Thor and still be attractive. I mean, maybe she's insecure because she's had babies now, but I mean, I've always thought Natalie Portman still looked good in the movies. I didn't watch that last Thor movie, so I can't talk about that.
I just
Yeah,
meant
but
don't
I do like
objectify
Natalie
the men.
Portman in The Professional. So
Oh, there you
whoa.
go. Oh no.
Hey,
It's a
look,
long
the
time to
ladies
like
at
that. File
Aquaman,
shows
we
are
had
not
Amber Heard,
appropriate.
right? So it all worked out. Hey,
Yeah,
say what
well-
you want to. I don't care what anyone says. You guys can front if you want, man. We were all on Amber Heard until we found out she shit in beds. So
Until you find out that
Some men
she's
like her
pretty.
more.
don't try to pretend
Yeah,
like you
some
didn't think
people like
Amber
that
Heard
too.
wasn't hot.
But this story, the couple things about this story. One, again, the mainstream media, they make it safe to tackle this topic by basically baiting you with what you think it's going to be, echoing things that fans have been saying. A lot of fans have been saying this. There's no reason, if there were as many people as they claim love The Acolyte as they do, it would have gotten a season 2. It would have gotten ratings.
Yeah.
Nobody watched it. Like, nobody is watching Agatha. And I do think there's even disinterest in videos on YouTube hitting on Agatha.
Gary's videos for Agatha way lower compared to other ones.
Nobody cares.
I know we joke about it, that we're the only ones watching stuff to cover it, but I actually think that is the case with Agatha. It is only like the people covering it and or that we're directly involved in it.
And you know why? Because Agatha is not bad enough to even hate. It's just
Acolyte was fun to make fun of. Yeah, Agatha is just like down the witch's road. It's forgettable.
It was like Madam Web was so bad.
I love Madam Web.
You could actually laugh, and it had very attractive women in it. And so, you know, I don't know. That one gets a
Madam Web was like the comic book version of The Room. Okay, I love Madam Web.
Hey, Alan and I met Tommy Wiseau at I bought underwear from him. I'm wearing it now.
His or just his
branded?
He has branded underwear.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I'll do a video for members only.
Are they very
Our
supportive?
members will drop from that.
Plenty of room.
I'm just saying, where is the end game here? Because it was I am the source of the story that said that Kathleen Kennedy wants to retire. She wants to go out on a win, on a big win, some critical success, financial success, whatever it is. She's ready. So
she's never leaving, is what you're saying.
Well,
she better start pandering to some men pretty quickly now.
Skeleton Crew is going to be a banger. Mandalorian and Grogu going to be all the billions.
Well, if she gives Jon Favreau a lot of leeway, maybe that'll be the good movie she can go out.
I thought Jon Favreau was leaving and not coming back.
Have you heard that last big?
He's running for the hills.
Chris, were you the one that the last big story that they're not going to have Bo-Katan be the new Mandalorian? She's going to be the one that sacrifices herself, meaning it would continue to be Pedro?
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. But I did hear that Favreau, after the movie is done, and he's glad to be done.
I bet.
But I just hear it's not fun to work for that company, which shouldn't surprise.
Right.
Shouldn't surprise anyone.
Well, I bet you Sam Raimi's never going back.
Well, yeah, they cut off your balls in order to work there. It's a pretty hefty price.
By the way, 8Ls24, I know a lot. I don't say it because I can't give away sources. I know a lot about Captain America. I could tell you Thunderbolts, and I could tell you some Daredevil stuff. But I'm not, because I hear it direct from people who work at those companies. All right. So
yeah, and if we spill, then it's kind of like they'll know who it came from. So
There are lots of jobs where people know stuff and they talk to me. I know things. Gary knows a lot of things. We talk. We do some of the same things, but I don't want to give it all up, and then potentially a source might get found out. I hear stuff. I'll tell you the highlights. So
yeah, I kept the secret about Henry Cavill being in Deadpool and Wolverine. That was the hardest one because I was with you.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and you saw me basically faint, and they're like, "You can't tell anyone." I was like, "Ah."
Yeah, I drink coffee and I know things. Where's that comment? Yes. Thank you, Nerd Far Away.
His coffee knows things.
How long do I got to be doing this shit before you guys fucking trust me? I'm mad at the chat right now.
I don't know. I think we've already been doing it 30 years plus. You'd think it'd have been worked by now.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No, but you go on other people's shows and tell them this stuff.
I'm not doing that anymore. I have such a good Daredevil thing to tell you all. I'm gonna wait for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Come to the Wednesday show. I'll tell you some things that I know. And I'll tell you one specific thing. And then remember that I said it. And then other YouTubers like Yellow Flash will read a thing that I said on a stream. Not kidding. So there you go. All right. So
Wednesday we have Daredevil news. So you want to be
yes, I'll promote that right now,
and then do videos on it.
So
Thursday, I'm going to have an exclusive about Daredevil.
I'm going to do a video on my own channel.
So speaking of Star Wars, have we all been blocked by Sawyerism by this point, or
no?
I'm still there.
Do you want to talk about that?
I was blocked.
She hasn't blocked me yet. I think
she hasn't blocked you, but she blocked me.
No, but remember, I'm the embodiment of all
just called her out on her lies, dude.
That's why she blocked you.
I know. I was gonna do like a recap on the weekend stream maybe later, so I'll.
Do you want to talk about this, Anna, and share some things?
Dante, do you want to talk about it?
It wasn't Anna though who did it.
But Anna, look.
Anna,
look.
It wasn't even Anna who did it.
Who was it?
It was Rhino.
I'll update that.
I was right there when it happened.
We were all right there, but none of us did anything. But we're all the embodiment of all evil.
This is drama right now.
And you know what? We could just say Rhino didn't know any better. Okay.
Rhino is a troublemaker at LA Comic-Con.
I just met him and he seems like a really nice guy.
I had to say something.
No, he is a nice guy. He just doesn't know any better, man. Because I see these same shields at every con, dude. And I recognize them. They recognize me. And you know what? I don't approach them. I don't say one word to them because I don't want to give them a plate to eat on. I don't want I don't want them to be able to make content about me coming up to them and saying something. So I just ignore them.
All right, so a couple things. One, please correct me if I'm wrong. Rhino went up to a girl who was part of tried to cancel everybody.
She's a cancel pig, yes.
Tried to cancel Gary, Critical Drinker, and
others.
Gamers and Ryan Kennel.
Pig is the right word.
So Rhino went up to her and said, "Good job trying to cancel other YouTubers."
And then he said loser.
And then he said loser.
As he walked away.
She said thank you because she didn't realize what he said. And then, as he was walking away.
So let's be clear. The entire interaction took 3 seconds.
Yeah. Right. And we were literally standing less than 5 feet away.
3 seconds of assault.
And
we couldn't hear him. He came and told us what happened.
I heard him actually say it. But
you did? I didn't hear him say it.
Should we go to your timeline, Anna, or
where do you want me to go to mine?
What?
I don't think you want to go to mine right now.
Let's see.
I'm saying, okay. In any case, here's my thoughts on it. One, I will talk to anybody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of differing opinions on this channel, and anyone is welcome. If someone who is a regular commentator wants to come on, hey, my opinion differs than yours. Let's talk it out. I've had people on even different sides of the political spectrum. I love it. Let's all talk to each other, or different sides of opinions. However, what disappoints me is that some people are not willing to have a conversation. If you love the Acolyte so much, defend it and convince me. I have had my opinion changed when I am engaged with others, and we all see things differently. I am also of the opinion that these types of people are not worth engaging with. They really aren't, because they will take the most minute of interaction and turn it into a drama. And apparently this person talked to security.
Yeah.
There.
Oh yeah. She went all out, man.
Well, they don't want a
second encounter.
They don't want a good faith interaction.
Yeah. So
I don't believe her. I don't believe that at all.
So it's really exaggerating. It's almost like being like a tattletale, right? Like in school, like this person bothered me. You know what? My mom always said, fight your own battles. Mm-hmm. She just threw me out there.
I like what Aaron put on his tweet where he said, "Oh, by the way, did Rhino also throw like a nerdrotic scarf around her neck, a noose around her neck, and throw bleach on her?" This is geeks and gamers country.
You're a Subway, right?
Right,
not a country.
Is there anything I should go to, Anna, to just?
I can just give like the basic recap.
Please,
right? We were standing. Chris wasn't there. We were standing there waiting for him because he got lost.
Chris. Yes.
We're at the back of the con, like kind of against the wall, right behind Artist Alley. Rhino saw her, and we're all standing there in like our little circle, waiting for Chris to get to us. Rhino was like, "Oh, that's that person. I'm gonna go say hi." And he goes off. He says something to her. Not even 3 seconds go by. He comes back and he's like, "This is what I said to her." And none of us recorded anything. And he's like, "Oh yeah, she just said thank you." And then 10, 15 minutes, we are at the very front of the con now, and we are in like the main area where all the cosplayers are, because again, we're all waiting for everybody else to get back so that way we can all go out to dinner and then go to the Star Wars bar. And so we're waiting there. People are taking pictures and everything, and then she's right there as well. And I guess she filmed some TikTok. So take in mind, Rhino traumatized her so much that she had to go talk to security and go film a TikTok. But she filmed the TikTok like 5 feet in front of us or by us in the front of the con. So I'm like, oh, he traumatized you so much you didn't even remember what he looked like. So you filmed a TikTok crying about him 5 feet away. And then now she's been on Twitter going, oh my gosh, I was harassed. I was stalked. And like, if anything, I think she was stalking us because we're all more recognizable. I didn't recognize her, but she happened to be right next to us while we were just standing there. And then the second time we're just standing there, she's right next to us again. So, yeah,
Rhino was one who recognized her. Like I didn't even recognize her.
I didn't recognize her either. But
well, I'll just say this:
you guys almost ran into her at the Star Wars bar.
Well, I want to say something, and I don't throw the term racist around very often, but she is blocking black people. Right here, Dante has your blocks.
Of course I am.
What did you do, Dante?
All I did was call her out on her lie. I told her I said no one screamed at you. We were like 5 feet away. No one even heard what he said. All he said was one thing, very sarcastically, and he walked away.
Yeah. He wasn't making a scene.
And here I'm on Anna's X feed here, just going
good luck.
through. Here's the thing. I don't ever understand this. I always count on you, Anna, and Chrissy Mayer to explain YouTuber drama to me. Apparently, something happened with Nick Rekieta, and I got to get caught up on that.
Yeah,
this is hell behind it. I despise drama so much. If I ever sort of see it, whenever a YouTube channel becomes not about the topic like comics or movies or games, the YouTube channel becomes about the channel and drama related to the channel. That's kind of when I kind of back off or maybe watch it less. So that's my personal preference.
Well, Yellow Flash knows a lot about the Nick Rekieta thing too. So
all right, well, I was caught up. He did catch me up on that, so I know a little bit more than that. But Anna's also very good at.
Well, here's this is Flash's post. So we found out the next morning that she was crying about it on Twitter. And then like her first post is like, oh, we're at Comic-Con, come say hi, which is exactly what Rhino did. He went up to her. He's like, are you voyeurism? So he literally did exactly what she said. And she's going off and crying harassment. I really wish like that one of us would have filmed it because it's, her word against his word. But she's just going and playing the victim. This is her only like claim to fame. This is her 15 minutes of fame. She always just tries to jump on like these bandwagons of all the Disney shills, and it never works. But one of the big things is, when we were down in the front, we were all taking group pictures, and people were taking pictures of my cosplay because I was dressed up like a Star Wars or Star Trek character, excuse me. And in the background of one of the group pictures, she's in it, and she looks, it's not a flattering picture at all. And so she's having a meltdown saying that we stalked her to take this picture, and it's like, no, you were in the background of our picture. Like, why are you following us around, this con chick? Especially, and it's just everything that she does is for attention. It's just, and she's having a meltdown because it's that filter versus reality kind of thing going on. So everyone's seeing how she catfishes.
Now that I think about it, she did mysteriously pop up everywhere we were, man.
I honestly think
the con's a big place.
Yes.
It's a big place, and she kept popping up kind of near we were.
And then the bar we were going to go to afterwards.
The same bar.
So she was just looking for trouble. She was just looking for trouble. It sounds like.
It feels like it, yeah.
So.
I think it was quick.
Yeah, she wanted to get involved in some beef.
Here's what
She did just play the victim.
Yeah.
This is what made me upset this weekend is that by the end of the weekend, she now has more X followers than I do.
You should engage me.
Follow Alan.
I check now, and she passed me.
Follow Alan.
Hey, yo,
at
but
My Pal
Dante,
Al.
Yeah, my pal Al.
Hey Dante, I could tell you that I don't know if you saw that stream I did with Kata, but Kata said that these clowns over there are blocking black content creators.
Oh yeah, no, I did
because
see
they
that,
can't be caught going back and forth with them on Twitter because they'll be called a racist by their people if they get caught going back and forth with a black man because Kyle Katarn did that to Kata. So
And
yeah,
to me,
this type,
and to me.
yeah, they don't want to go back and forth with us, you know. So they'll just block us outright and say, okay, I'm not going to go back and forth with these guys, even if they have legitimate points, even if they're being polite and kind. I'm not going to go back and forth with them. So they just block you right off rip.
It breaks the narrative, right?
Yeah,
it breaks because see, they can argue with a white person because they can call them racist.
It's time for white silence. You need to let you guys.
Yeah, but if they call, well, I can't use my racism bigot, card against the black guy. So yeah, I guess I can't talk to him at all. Blocked. Like that's basically what they're doing. Yeah, it's stupid, man.
Well, at least they don't just
went
call
after me.
you.
When they went after me about my Marvels review, they refused to put my picture. In
Oh,
my
no.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
my Rotten Tomatoes review.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. People came after you for just not liking the Acolyte.
Yeah, and they they got it from my Rotten Tomatoes review, which has my picture next to it, and they cut my picture out.
Oh my God, of course.
Wow,
So petty.
Yeah, well,
Even though
like
Ing is a traditionally white name.
yeah.
here's the
You
deal.
like Shang-Chi, so
Open
things balanced.
invitation to
Thank
come
you.
on the show to whoever. We nerds in nerd community should talk to each other when they disagree. It's okay. I mean, here we have a lit dev on. Your commentary on Joker has been amazing. I don't agree with your assessment, but I love hearing a different take.
yeah, disagree with everything you said, but it's been fun.
It has been fun. I like arguing with Badger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone argues with that.
Everyone badgers.
Everyone
gets
argues
badgered.
with Badger here. We'll
I had a good time.
we'll put
Oh.
if you guys
Go
want to
with
keep
Alan.
going.
No, dear
Look at
God,
that.
do you want to keep? No, we don't.
What is it? Feels like all the switching. I feel like we're
Yeah,
part of like a sitcom or something. the rings of power rush through like all the actors.
Did you want to make a case for Rings of Power?
Oh hell no! I hate
Okay,
that.
good.
Guys,
Oh my God.
we cannot have fighting on this show.
The last time I
If we
did
do
fight, he put me on the
fight,
bottom of the channel.
I did make a little thing there. You could
Well, I will say this because I have a stream coming up, so I was looking for certain topics. I did see that apparently at the end of the first Joker, they wanted him to do the Glasgow smile in front of a crowd of people at the end, and Nolan vetoed it, saying that only his Joker should have that. And, well, he wasn't there to veto it the second time because boy, did they do it in the second movie. How do you feel about that?
On the first one, that would have been really silly if you got a Glasgow smile. It'd been like over the top and silly. But the second one was also stupid to have the Glasgow smile. I was like, okay, I know where you go with this. This is dumb. Although I'm glad it was in the background where you can't really see it. It's kind of fuzzed away. But they put it in there. It's very clear what he's doing, and it's stupid. And like this guy is supposed to be the Joker. This guy is just as bad as Arthur. He's not that great. He's a psychopath. The guy that stabs Arthur. This is a psychopath. So
Barely in the movie. Yeah.
I like the fact that he died, but I didn't like the fact how it was done, in terms of, oh, this guy might be the Joker. Like, no, he isn't though. He isn't.
I mean,
Here's a good debate topic for the two of you. Do you think Script Doctor knows what he's talking about?
Yes.
Of course you do.
Like everyone, it's all context based.
all right. We got to get to supers here.
Wait, did you
But
even talk about the penguin yet?
Yeah,
It's great.
it was, you know what? Not much of a conversation. It was a very good new episode.
One of the super
Yeah.
chats will
Very
mention
good.
it too.
Is a very good episode.
It was a great episode. That was an
Yeah, I
amazing
thought it was
episode.
really
Yeah.
good. And
that opening scene, man.
It
We could talk-
retroactively makes things hit harder.
Okay, one last quick topic before we go to Supers. The franchise episode 1. I saw it. Who else saw it?
I watched it last night because you said we should. Why? We don't have to watch this going forward.
What
because it was
a waste of time.
Who was it for?
Who is it for? Is it for people? I've seen so many other types of shows about the making of a TV show or movie that were entertaining. Even the movie within the movie they were making was terrible. Everything about it was subpar. The guy who's the lead is the first AD, is not even the director. It's wacky craziness on the set of what is probably a Marvel movie that is just, it's unrealistic. Nothing is based on any reality. They don't bring up Marvel, Kevin Feige, real characters, which they could have had. This was their franchise.
But it's
some
tropey.
other ones.
There's the actor that's pretentious, like the Alan Rickman from Galaxy Quest, but done way worse. The director who wants to put in, messaging, but he can't because of the thing. So it's on the nose.
It's made by people who don't like genre movies. It was awful. Script, you had comments before.
Yeah, this movie feels like it's made for people who are basically up to their eyebrows inside the film industry. So there's a lot of jokes in there that a lot of people who work in the film industry will get, but they're not accessible enough to the general audience. Like it's inside baseball too much. Like I'm watching this, I'm like, yeah, I know that guy, I know that guy, I know that girl, I know that, but I just don't care because it's not funny. But conversely, Hulu had a show last year called Reboot with Paul Reiser that was funny.
That was great. And they had the writer's room, which they changed. They made fun of woke other people in the writer's room. They made fun of jokes you can't say. That show was smart. It's called Reboot. It's on Hulu. That's the version. I thought this was going to be like Reboot. It's not at all.
No.
And there aren't even any. That first show is about getting one big shot. They do this walking camera. It's not. Yeah, Sam Mendes directed it.
No one said it was directed poorly. It just wasn't funny and had a bunch of deep cut jokes that even if I understood, I didn't laugh at.
Yes. You wouldn't have if you understood. I can attest to that because I understood them. I'm like, they're not funny.
It was not funny. There are better things, like you mentioned, Script, Reboot. So we're not even gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna keep watching it. I just don't care. So
I would not if you gave us the option. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Supers. I love Monday hanging out with everybody here. I love it. It's super fun. It's always a good time. So
you know what's insane though? I work out a lot and I jog about 3 miles a day. And there's something about the cons, man, that your body is sore in ways like I can't even explain. Like I feel like I worked out the whole weekend.
Dude, I was dying. I'm like, I can go sleep for a week and just to recover.
Well,
like everything hurts.
Well, this is okay. I hear you, Dante. I hear you. You and I are kind of close in age, but I'll say this. One thing you can do to basically help that is to wear Batman Crocs at the con. I will show
Oh, shut up.
I will show a video. I gotta show this. I want to prove I keep my word. I keep my word. And the chat asked, they said, okay, wear your Batman Crocs, because I foolishly bought them on Batman Day. And I wore these Crocs. Here I am at Comic-Con with Alan. Well, here they are. Yes, I am wearing Batman Crocs here at LA Comic-Con. And my campaign for president, Film Thread 24, is promises kept. So here we go.
You've got a little link.
You're muted. You're muted.
What's that?
You were muted. Go ahead.
Well, you don't need to always say you're muted. Just unmute me.
No, when you mute yourself, no one can unmute you.
Yeah, I heard. Oh, thanks, Alan. No, but look, the Batman Crocs didn't help. I had like 16,000 steps on Saturday. It was insane.
Dude, and I feel terrible complaining, man, because Anna was there pregnant. You know, I mean,
In heels.
and in
Yeah.
heels.
Why were you not last thing till we go to Super Anna? Your perfect opportunity to be pregnant Padme for
I already
Revenge of the
told
Sith.
you like a million times
Why
the costume wouldn't come in on time, and also they stopped making that like night dress that Padme has, or else I would have worn it. But I had to do what I had to do, which was, I guess, just be Star Trek, because that's
When's
what
the due date? When's the due
Christmas.
date? All right. Well, before then, please cosplay. It's your only opportunity.
You think I'm only gonna have
Easy, I'm
one?
gonna have a few more in the future.
For now.
For
Yeah,
now, I mean, you know.
my vote is Slave Leia. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to put that on right now.
All
I'm
right.
too big for that.
Two birds, one
Badger?
stone type of thing right there. Yeah. All right, let's go.
Badger, if you would, here we go. We will answer these questions. There's some really good ones here.
Red Pilled Rants for 199. Sounds like it was a troll from trailer to movie.
Yep. Joker 2.
Thomas Pickett for 5. Do you think there is any truth to the conspiracies that our elites wanted to ruin the character of Joker that championed chaos?
I don't know if there's truth to that rumor, but it's weird that you get an uprising from a clown in a story that's about disenfranchised people in society that led to kind of the beginnings of what would be class warfare.
Yeah.
And that was made very apparent with Arthur Fleck's interaction with Thomas Wayne. This is about class and the themes. That's why I think Joker really resonated. I don't know about
when it came out, Summer of Love. You know, everyone was very upset.
Yeah, there's a certain person that died in public, and the people rioted. So
people were very upset.
Certain individual.
Yeah, they're also a lot of the people that are rioting are also putting some certain connotation on that individual and trying to at least elevate their status without their consent or even their family's consent. So there's also that to play into as well.
It was like the JLM movement. Joker's Lives Matter.
I always equate. I saw parallels with Arthur Fleck's struggle in Joker 1 and Joker 2, actually.
Yeah.
With men, just normal men in modern day American society. You know, just you are forgotten. No one cares about you. Every time you try to do anything, you're seen as like a creep or insane. Like Arthur Fleck was in a bus just trying to entertain this one kid, just like, trying to make him laugh, and the lady's like, "Could you just leave my kid alone, you creep?" And immediately just shut down. Every single time he's doing anything, he's shut down. If he's in the gutter, they'll step over him. And to me, the idea of the Joker is his confidence, as I said before. But that's the idea is that when he rises up as the Joker, he's seen as mad. You know, it's insane. And what happens when a man does anything but comply or shows any other emotion but apathy in modern day American society? He's called insane. He's called
Toxic.
incel. Toxic. So all of us have kind of we felt that, right? Because we usually don't comply. Not usually, you know, just that we don't like Star Wars, Marvel. They tell us we have to like this movie. A lot of us do not, and we make it very vocal. And what do we get called? We get called Nazis, fascists, etc., and so forth. So to me, I'm not saying that's what the movie is saying, but to me, I kind of really equated or saw parallels of Arthur Fleck's journey with the journey specifically of a modern man in America.
There were a lot of parallels, and unfortunately, all the money from Justice or Joker Lives Matters went all to buying mansions in the Palisades right outside of Gotham. So we don't see them anymore.
That'd be a cool Joker mansion. I want to see that.
Let's go to our next comment here.
Jeff Maddox for 2. Did anyone see the quietly released Salem's Lot? Yeah, that's out on Max right now.
It's on Max. I bookmarked it.
What's that about?
Not see it.
It's the remake, the vampire thing. I've heard it's very modern day, very not great.
I have not heard good things. So
modern day really likes vampires.
You guys will probably love it. You'll understand things and it'll be very deep that we didn't get, but everyone else is apparently not liking it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Is it
unique?
I don't know where. Well, wait. I have to ask a question about Salem's Lot. If anybody has seen it, let me know. Is it the gayest Salem's Lot that's ever been?
Mark,
is it the gayest?
Mark, you must be stopped.
All right.
Vampires are inherently queer, I've been told. 1001 Johnny for 20. Phillips wasn't trying to be true to the text and didn't hide that fact. Why is the audience refusing to address the film for what it is first before comparing it to what it isn't? This allows the character to have longevity. And by character, I assume he means Arthur Fleck. Sure was no Joker character in there.
Yeah, I do. Well, there's that one essay by David Poland that he thinks this movie will age well. And that is a thing. Like sometimes a movie comes out, it's not what people expect, but it stands the test of time. I'm not sure if this will, but we'll soon find out if it resonates, whatnot. This wasn't a super chat, but I thought a question worth addressing.
Oryx 221, where do you guys think this modern deconstructionalist approach to cinema icon comes from? Real quick, it's cultural Marxism. It's the destruction of all of our heroes. Power dynamics. There's no such thing as good and evil, only people in control and people without control. And it's why we've seen everything be destroyed. But anyone else?
Oh, no,
you nailed it.
That's why it's been so difficult to make a Superman movie where it's just an optimistic Superman, a hero. And here you saw those Star Wars sequels, they killed off the iconic, legendary legacy characters one by one in each movie, and not only killed them, tore them down. So
this was actually a weapon. So the Marxism is actually the weapon used, but it's used to plug up a desperation of, we need something new, we need something fresh, we need something different, we need something that people will talk about, because they don't want to go back to the aspirational heroes. They think, well, if we turn the aspirational hero on its head, nobody's seen that before, that'll make waves, and we'll make all the money for people wanting to go watch it and talk about it and debate about it, and we'll be lauded. And it's like, that never usually ever happens the way they expect it to be. It's the desperation of, we've made so much, everybody's seen everything, how can we be different? Oh, let's try this thing from the late 1800s that worked, quote unquote, didn't work. I mean, it killed a lot of people, but let's put that into our fiction.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to paint unburdened by what has been.
They're trying to paint Indiana Jones as problematic, right? They're saying he's a cultural thief, right? The guy fought Nazis, but yet, he's the villain.
Because he's a white man. Can't have a white man be a hero.
Just a grave robber.
They removed the movies from Disney Plus.
They fantasize about making a Indiana Jones movie where it's his daughter and she's taking back all the treasures he stole and giving them back to the people. Like this.
Oh God, no.
To be fair, they've ruined Lara Croft for the same things. They've turned her into just a grave robber, took away all her. So it's not even just the men too. It's just anyone with any sort of agency or morals and
who's white.
Fun,
it belongs where you found it, not in a museum.
Yeah,
it actually belongs in the museum. I think everyone's like, it belongs in the museum. Is this going to die?
Put it back in the moldy cave. That'll
put it back where it gets destroyed by floods or whatever. Yeah,
well, better a museum than in the hands of the Nazis, right?
Right. All right, Johnny,
like actual Nazis, not just white people.
Also, Johnny for 20. Oh, sorry.
I also think it's a coincidence that also, what else is being elevated and celebrated? Failure. I don't think it's a coincidence that all these people are celebrating failure because they're failures and they want to feel better about it.
Hashtag save the acolyte.
Johnny for 25. Fleck, imagine the ending where he got stabbed. The Joker personality took control of Fleck's body. Arthur is mentally gone. That's a headcanon. T9 South for 199. 100 million Oppenheimer, 200 million Joker 2.
Yeah, that's crazy. Where did all this money go? Like the Joker 2 is like, okay, we were in a prison and now we're in a courthouse, and that's it. I know there's extravagant musical scenes, but I mean, come on.
No, that's insane.
Yeah.
Knee pain, friend of the channel, knee pain for 5. Laugh out loud. I stepped away for a meeting and came back, and they are still venting about. Well, that was more than venting, but still venting about Joker. This movie must really suck. Glad I went to Transformers 1. Well, I think you should see it.
Transformers 1 was legitimately entertaining. I enjoyed it. I'm not
bad marketing.
Hardcore. I know hardcore fans do not like it. I'm a normie. I enjoyed it. Thanks, knee pain. Love you.
And I will just say this in the comments. Someone said music rights for Joker, but damn, that's a lot of music rights.
18
popular songs. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Okay.
He's in there. You got
Buster Peak 21 for 2. It hurts the movie industry in general. Just failures are, but yeah. Graph Web for 2. I sang on George's show. I hope you were happy. The power of Christ compels you. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Oh, don't full scream me when I do it. Connor Dorian, Charlie Manx, fought for 5. The Down the Witch's Road song sounds kind of like the Follow the Yellow Brick Road song.
Disagree. It's such a bad down the Witch's Road. I think the Witch's Road is a rabbit trail, if anyone knows what that is.
I thought it was a euphemism for
Dante smiled.
Yeah, Batman goes down the Witch's Road on Catwoman. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Connor Dorian.
They're supposed to go through tests, right? The first test is drinking wine. Like, yeah, I know who this is made for.
Yeah, exactly.
She-Hulk writers.
The next best is actually a slumber party musical.
Yeah,
I thought it was karaoke night, but
I'm gonna tell secrets. What are your thoughts on the 3rd episode of Penguin? 9 out of 10, and I'd have given it a 10 out of 10, but I need to leave room to grow. I love this show. It's fulfilling me. It's healing my soul.
Man.
Victor was great. I liked that story with Victor a lot. That was really
Vic Aguilar, man. Great kid. That actor. Bruce Leroy Jenkins for 5. Frank, will the Tommy Wiseau underwear try-on haul be channel members only exclusive?
Look,
Do it.
would you like a preview?
Yeah, let's take a
I mean,
poll.
sorta. No homo, but I might buy some.
Here we go. Here we
No
go.
Diddy.
You, huh?
I mean, a little bit. Hey,
Oh my goodness.
so- yeah, to move the
Super chat.
This is
There you go.
oh
Kevin
wow.
Hart,
There
there
we
we
go.
Tommy.
I wasn't lying.
Tommy, look at you.
Tommy.
Promises kept.
Look at you, what clean living does.
But I'm saying, gosh, now I know what it's like to be a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, super
There you
chat
go.
for
The
the
autograph on
nakedness.
your underwear.
Or an
16-bit
OnlyFans
mascot for 5. Ahoy, dudes, great panel. Cheers to Film Threat. Always enjoy when I can catch it.
Oh, thank you so much.
French Moon for 2. Even documented your croc crime. Bold strategy.
I go by what the majority of the chat wants. Plus, Alan likes when I get made fun of.
Wonder why. Snakes and Funerals for 2. You're the real heroes seeing this movie for us.
Thank you so much. Thanks and funerals.
Sons and Shadows, shout out Jeff for 2. The Real Art the Cloud, Terrifier 3 this week.
yeah.
Looking for a group.
Looking forward to
I
that, man.
can't wait. I have
cannot
tickets for
wait.
Thursday. I'm seeing that in a theater. Every seat, it's going to be 100% full.
You couldn't pay me to see this movie.
This
Alan.
musical. The Nerd
Yeah,
Far
look, it's a
Away for
musical.
199. Yeah, just doesn't say anything, just stares at us.
Thanks,
Power of
Nerd
the
Far
Ring.
Away.
A Serious Man, member for 7 months. Not a fan of the first Joker or the Killing Joke.
Well, now a serious man who I ran into at LA Comic Con, who was asking if I do a meetup. I'm terrible when it comes to these things. I don't like to be the leader. I don't like to be the organizer, the leader. I want to leave that. It was like herding cats. It's like, where are you? Oh, we're at Billy. No, come to Jumbo's. Wait, come get me.
No,
there's an Uber.
no, that's not what happened.
Dad.
We all said we were
I
going
told
to Star
you.
Wars
No.
Ball.
I said
What?
we are all going to Scum and Villainy, and
What?
then we can go to Jumbo's after.
Versus.
Wait,
not
what?
me.
What
Yeah.
happened? I
told
was trying to get a
you.
meetup going.
There was only one
for a
person
minute.
who went to Jumbo's first, and that was you.
Yeah,
That was me.
Everyone else.
because
We all
knew
knew
where we
where to
were
meet
going.
except for you.
You need to trust my knowledge. If you don't go to Jumbo's before 9:30 p.m. on a Saturday,
Oh,
you're
good
going
luck.
to be waiting in line. Listen to Dante and I. We are the Dante more so than me. But
Well,
I mean,
Dante
Chris
failed
yelling at
for
this
one
woman.
thing.
Oh, it's so
no,
sad.
I'm just saying I kind of go with the flow, but I'm filled with a serious man. I apologize. Next time, Anna will be organizing a meetup.
No, I won't. I don't know if I'll be able to go any next year. I don't know what's it's gonna be like.
They
Maybe.
have
Yeah, like
babysitters.
Comic-Con.
Don't worry about it. Thanks.
Just
By the way-
cosplay the baby as Baby Yoda, and
Yeah.
I did
Go.
read LFG as looking for group, not let's fucking go. I guess either applies. Charles Harrison for 5 and 1 cent. Disney is proving to everyone that socialists make terrible filmmakers. It shows their agenda storytelling skills.
Yep.
Well,
Red French Moon
because it's driven by agenda is going to be tainted. That's what happens with everything. If you write a story and you're not there purely for the art and you're tainted by, like, I don't know, agenda or wokeness, it will be tainted and it will be very clear to the audience. That's why everything woke is terrible, because it's inherently, because it's woke, is agenda driven.
Yeah, because it's not passion driven. It's driven by the agenda. If it was driven by the passion of the story, whatever byproduct you wanted to infer from that would be welcomed by the audience as opposed to rejected.
Yeah, stick to politics, people.
Yeah. Red French Moon for 2. FYI, if you want hopeful stuff, One Piece and Haiku.
Haiku is good.
The Nerd Far Away for 5. I love Film Threat. That is all.
Oh, wow.
We love Nerd Far Away.
And then, one last one here.
Of course, thanks to our mod, Polie, Atomic Lori. Thank you guys in chat. You guys are awesome.
Glenuccio. I want to thank Lit Dev, who has joined the party. Thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Yeah, well, you're welcome back next week if you want to. We're going to be talking about new stuff. And Anna, thank you for holding the line on the drama.
You're welcome. I would have much preferred to talk about Penguin more, though.
Yes.
Well, next week we'll talk about episode 4.
All right.
Well, better be
You're
good.
I'll hold you to that.
Subscribe to everyone on here. The links are in the description. We will be back next week with a new episode of Versus. We'll talk Terrifier 2. We will talk the second weekend for Joker 2. What else are we talking about, Alan?
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
Thanks, Alan.
Oh, the Lego movie, the Lego documentary.
Yes, we will discuss it later this week. The Lego movie. Thank you again to this panel. I love, this is the conversations actually we have when we get together. This is just, we're on a live stream. That's it. So, thank you for your super chats, your participation, your comments, and your tolerance for my Crocs. Very important. So, take care, everybody. Alan?
Let's get out of here.